Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I am coming back with another episode of Exotical of the Week. I know that it was on a hiatus, but I'm going to be continuing the series moving forward because there are so many amazing ladies that we can learn from. So in the spirit of Christmas, this week's Exotical of the Week is Miss Mariah Carey. Mariah was born March 27th, 1969 to an African-American Afro-Venezuelan father and an Irish-American mother. She was born and raised in Huntington, New York, which is a small town outside of Long Island. Mariah grew up with two older siblings and described her upbringing as tumultuous and dysfunctional, which influenced her personal journey and music career. On top of her parents' unhappy marriage, which ultimately led to divorce, Mariah grappled with her identity as her mother's family was not accepting of her parents' interracial union and the children that union produced, which is very common for a lot of exoticals, because of people's prejudices and racism that still exist. One family member often does not accept the other, and sometimes even both sides of the family does not accept the other. And so sometimes if the parents do not make a concerted effort to really instill confidence and self-worth and identity in their children, a lot of exoticals deal with this issue of acceptance because it's like, I'm accepted by one but not the other, or sometimes I'm not accepted by either, and so it's like, wow, like where do I put myself? Which is why spaces like this exist, so that we can create our own identities and our own representation and be able to connect with other like-minded women who have similar experiences to us. Mariah also grappled with a fractured relationship with her mother and siblings, as Mariah described her mother as being cold and emotionally unavailable towards her, and also suffered a word at the hands of her older sister and brother, who both suffered from substance abuse issues. Over time, Mariah was able to mend these relationships, which is one thing that I really respect about her. She did not allow the treatment of her mother and siblings to sort of impact and hold her back from achieving her goals, which a lot of people unfortunately do when they're in similar situations. And she also did not allow her father not really being present, or her not being around her father as much as her mother, to impact her confidence to push forward with her career. Mariah believes that her issues with her mother also stemmed from jealousy, as her mother was an opera singer whose career didn't take off, while Mariah became one of the greatest artists of all time. And we're reminded of that greatness every single year with her hit song, All I Want for Christmas Is You, which generates around $3 million per year. During her years in elementary school, Mariah excelled in music and would imitate her mother's take on Verdi's opera Rigoletto in Italian. Mariah would also write poetry and lyrics while in high school and received vocal training. She also worked as a demo singer and later moved to New York City after high school to sing backup for singer Brenda K. Starr. Mariah was discovered by Columbia Records exec Tommy Mottola in 1988, which placed her in direct competition with Whitney and Madonna, who were signed to different labels respectively. Mariah shot to stardom during her first public appearance at the 1990 NBA Finals, singing America the Beautiful. The highlight of her performance was when she hit that piercing whistle note that she's known for toward the song's conclusion, which led CBS Sports anchor at the time, Pat O'Brien, to declare that the palace now has a queen. So this is where Mariah was kind of known as one of, or the queen of R&B. Over the course of her career, Mariah has released 15 studio albums, 2 soundtrack albums, 8 compilation albums, 4 extended plays, and 1 remix album, winning her 6 Grammys, 19 World Music Awards, 20 Billboard Music Awards, and 10 American Music Awards. Okay, so Mariah was forever in her bag, and that's why she's one of the most successful artists of all times. And another thing that I like about Mariah is that she embraces being a feminine woman, but also being a boss babe at the same time. So, like, her whole persona was sort of being like this soft, feminine diva, this object of desire. But then she also later became a wife and a mother, which also signals to people that, you can have it all. Women are kind of told that you have to have one or the other. You kind of either have to decenter men and forget all about, family life, when in fact you can decenter men and still have a family life. Or we're told that, you have to focus on your family 100% and not worry about your career, which of course is not true, as we can see with Mariah and so many other people like her on a micro level. In 1993, Mariah married Tommy Mottola, who was also the same man who discovered her and signed her, and she divorced him 5 years later due to his controlling behavior and disagreements on her career. She later married Nick Dusty Cannon in 2008 and divorced him in 2016. They now share 2 children. It's also noteworthy that Mariah sued her ex-fiancé James Packer and won back in 2016, as Mariah claimed that Packer wasted her time during their relationship because he made promises about their future, that they're going to be together, and then he ended up breaking up with her during their Greece trip. And she said that she could have spent her time growing her career and making money, and so the judge awarded her for $50 million. And that's another thing. Like, Mariah, again, is a symbol of femininity, motherhood, being the all-around woman. She was the image of what they would describe a woman to be. But Mariah also knew her worth. She did not sit down and kind of just passively allow things to happen to her. She did not play victim. If she had to walk away from something that was no longer serving her, she would do so. And obviously, being married and divorced twice is not an easy situation to go through. If you do not have an ironclad prenup to protect you, you can face financial loss from a divorce. But obviously, Mariah here was smart, and now her net worth is estimated to be around 331 million. Okay, so Mariah is a total package. Okay, she's beautiful, she's smart, she's successful, she's a mother, she's feminine, like, again, that image of being that feminine symbol, but she is super, super smart and strategic, okay? She used her pretty privilege to get ahead, to get what she wanted, and then she built upon that so that she could compound her success and ultimately her money. Even though Mariah didn't have the best luck with love, she did not allow that to stop her from pursuing it. She learned to decenter men by putting her needs and goals first and walking away when the relationship was no longer fulfilling. And that set her apart from other female artists because it was common and still is for women to dilute their success for men who don't wish them well, like Whitney Houston, or they sort of just put their careers on hold in order to appease a man. Mariah Carey is known as a diva who puts herself first because she's assertive, demanding, and has very strict boundaries, even with her children. So, out of the 7 feminine archetypes, Mariah appears to be a lover. Someone who has this archetype represents a woman's most primal urge to connect and create. As the oldest feminine archetype, the lover represents a woman's erotic energy and her capacity for psychic and physical creation. When this archetype is active in a woman's psyche, she feels compelled to fulfill both procreative and creative instincts. Her energy field is charged and she becomes a magnet to those around her. She has presence and she's firmly rooted in the here and now, which is so true of Mariah. Like, even back to the procreative and creative instincts, she started off her career creating music and winning a lot of awards as a result. but then she also wanted to tap into that energy by having two children instead of feeling the need to have one over the other. Mariah Carey is also known to be a sex symbol. People are drawn to her magnetic energy because she was sort of that she wasn't a vixen, but she was sort of that image of a beauty, opulence, and luxury. Like she was known as a girl's girl. And so people would emulate her style of fashion. They would try to emulate her style of singing. Even in the music videos that they created, or whenever artists, like rap artists, for example, had a song and they wanted sort of that feminine balance, that ultra feminine balance, they would invite Mariah Carey to sing that portion of the song over other artists to fill in. Like she's collaborated with Old Dirty Bastard, Jermaine Dupri, and Busta Rhymes, to name a few, and she kind of had that feminine contrast to their super masculine personas. The lover archetype represents a life force energy. On one hand, it is this creative energy that compels us to mate and pass on our genes, but in a broader sense, this life force energy, whether referred to as Shakti, Chi, or anything else, compels us to channel our feelings of passion into creation, whether that creation is another human being, an intense connection, a work of art, a song, etc. And Mariah often shared in her earlier days that her upbringing, her challenging upbringing, helped to fuel her passion to create music. And so this is a form of someone, this is a good example of someone taking authority and ownership of their future instead of Mariah sort of allowing her upbringing and her childhood to determine her worth and, prevent her from achieving great things. She channeled that energy, that negative energy, to fuel passion in her music, and she was able to connect with millions of listeners, and now she's one of the most successful artists in the world. Women who are aligned with the lover archetypes are intimately connected to this creative energy. Their sacred eroticism, sensuality, passion is indicated in their work, and we would see this a lot in Mariah Carey's videos. She was always placed as the pinnacle of desire and beauty, feminine beauty. And so she definitely embodied that. And this archetype inspires deep communication, intimacy, sensuality, and creativity amongst other people who glean inspiration from that energy. Lover women are unique in that they have a deep emotional need for both freedom and connection, and their romantic lives often reflect this. So Mariah was married, 2 times, and engaged 3 times. She's been divorced twice. So she wasn't afraid to step away from things that did not serve her, even though she still had a desire to be romantically connected. She pursued her goals. She pursued that goal of having romantic connections. And when they no longer worked out for her, she was willing to walk away and fuel that energy to something else. So some strengths of people that have the lover archetype is that they are naturally magnetic. They incite arousal and passion in others. They are creative, independent, pleasure oriented. And some of the challenges that these women face is that they tend to be accused of being vain. They often lack focus and they have fragile self-esteem, which are all things except for the lack of focus part, because you can't lack focus and be as successful and achieve the type of success that Mariah has achieved. But people have accused Mariah of being extremely vain and having a fragile ego, you know, attributing that to her being a diva. And so do with that what you will. So if you have a lover archetype, or you think that you do, I would encourage you to study women like Mariah so that you can develop your personality and discover new talents and skills that you didn't even know that you had. Look to Mariah for inspiration in terms of fashion, work ethic, creativity, how she carries herself and interacts with other people, the type of boundaries that she kind of sets up. Of course, everyone should establish boundaries, but we can't all establish boundaries in the same way. And I strongly believe it's because we each have different archetypes and different personalities that play out in different ways. And so if you're finding a hard time connecting with people, it could be because you simply are not aligned with your archetype. And so gleaning inspiration from someone like Mariah to see how you can navigate life, navigate challenges, areas that you can tap into more creativity because you likely are a creative type of person if you have this archetype, will help you to navigate these situations. All right, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think down below in the comment. Let me know what other exoticals or even non-exoticals you would like to see featured. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.